Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, December 2nd, 2022. That's a lot of twos, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's as many twos as there are on February 22nd, 2022, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's a one in there for us.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, radiozero.us, Google Podcasts, wherever you consume podcasts. We're live streaming. I think it's been like at least 4 episodes we've live streamed regularly at 4 p.m. on a Friday every fortnightly. Live streaming on Facebook on the Radio Zero page and the Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thank you for everyone who is patronizing us and supporting this program. And we've got a Discord now.
Yeah, which I'm on right now.
You'll have to look around for the join link. I can't. This is not 1997 where I'm going to read out a URL on the air.
I made Matt DM an admin.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. I don't know if he knows it yet.
If you're listening live or you're listening on the Friday that we've recorded this, it is Bandcamp Friday. We just announced or opened up pre-orders for the deluxe Flower Plower reissue. It's a double record set of our first album. First record is a recreation of the original release. So our first record originally was an 8-song mini LP in the terminology of that era. It was not an EP.
In the parlance of our
in
time.
The parlance
of their time.
Of their times. As I think I've said before, Mike Potential, who released it, the first version of Flower Plower, would constantly tell me it's not an EP, it's a mini LP. 8 songs. So first record recreates that. It's 4 songs from our Albini sessions with Brendan as drummer, and then 4 songs from the 1988, was it, sessions with Ian Burgess.
May he rest in peace.
Yes, with Shannon on drums. And then the second record is the remaining Ian Burgess session recordings. So that's what came out on CD. The Flower Plower version, if you're familiar with the first Poster Children record, when it was released on CD and cassette, it had additional seven additional songs from that Ian Burgess session with Shannon. So the second record in the new re-release is those 7 songs plus 2 songs that were demos that we recorded with Brendan before the Albini sessions at his home studio in early 1989.
What are the songs?
Juana and Byron songs. So
wow.
You get the Juana and Byron songs recorded in the Albini session on the first disc, and then on the end of the second disc, you have 2 8-track, not the cassette format, but Brendan had a Tascam 8-track 1/4-inch, I believe it was. Reel to reel? Was it 1/4-inch or 1/2-inch recording setup?
Recording in Urbana, right? Illinois, or was it Champaign?
I believe it was Champaign. It was, he actually was living in a house, I think it was with his mom, and it was not that far from where we wound up living years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
remember like a big white house that was on the corner of, I can't remember what streets, but it's been a while. So yeah. That's up for pre-order will come. The pressing plants says they'll. Lotus Pool Records is doing that release, and then also Rose's book available for pre-order.
Through our website?
Through our website. So if you go to store.posterchildren.com, you'll see both the Flower Plower and Rose's book. So Rose's book, Play Like a Man. You can order it. If you order it through our website, Rose will sign it. You'll get a signed copy.
It's funny, the Quaker just asked me, he just messaged me on Facebook and asked me if I would do that, and I said yeah. I was a little worried. I was like, but I thought you were saying that, so I have to thank you for setting all this up, Rick.
Yes.
And the book is out on University of Illinois Press.
Yes. And the official publication date for that is February 28th, but apparently
that means something different.
Something different
in the book publishing world. They say February 28th, but they mean something earlier. Whereas in the record publishing world, it's the opposite.
Right. And so the target date to start shipping all this out, I've set it to February 27th, but it's entirely possible that if the records show up earlier and the books show up earlier, we could start shipping earlier.
We'll be shipping it from this house.
That's right.
Yeah.
What did Chris from Lotus Pool call me? The shipping boy?
I don't know.
So I prefer control freak, but apparently some people call that job shipping boy. And I can't remember. It was a funny term. But
I'm gonna say hi to Larry, who's listening. Says he still listens to the cassette to this day, like the old cassette, the Flower Plower cassette. Tony Capel, hi from Miami, and today is my sister's birthday. It's been celebrated for the last week or two.
Your twin sister.
That's funny. Not my twin sister. My littlest sister. It's her birthday, and so she's in Miami celebrating now, and then she'll be celebrating back in London too. But if you're listening, Sarah, get the hell off the internet and go enjoy yourself. But yeah, it's exciting. I see pictures of her all over the internet. She looks very happy.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody who has pre-ordered already. So we just launched those pre-orders today. Oh yeah, and as I said, it was Bandcamp Friday. So if you do the pre-order today, we get more money.
Oh, okay.
They don't take a percentage. So yeah, it's good. And I should clarify, we don't necessarily get more money. Chris will be able to
recoup from all of the records that all the money that he's spent on us.
Yes.
Chris from Lotus Pool.
Yes.
Yeah. So
our creative patron right now.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. So I don't know. We could talk a little bit about both of these things. I mean, I've listened to. There was something. Was it a whole? I can't remember if it was a whole half-hour thing on NPR. Yes, about nostalgia.
Oh yeah. I feel like, what is it? It wasn't the Ira Glass show. Was it a show like that though? It was
it was the history show.
Shows.
It wasn't just the half-hour kind of deep dive show. Yeah, and I've always had a difficult relationship with nostalgia, and also realizing that this is a record that came out 32 years ago. Is that right? Am I doing the math right? Or is it 42? No, 32 years ago. And then your book, when I read through your book last year, it was also a little strange to be reliving all of that. But I'm okay with it. It's a very powerful thing. Nostalgia is a powerful thing.
What did you hear in the radio episode about nostalgia?
Well, it started out as a term for a disease, basically homesickness for soldiers, right? So nostalgia was kind of like pining for the fjords, and so it's but yeah, I guess it's been long enough where.
You can wear your own band's shirt now.
Well,
you're old enough.
I'm not
that far.
That. Yeah,
but well, you have other stuff that you're working on now. You have a lot of you have a whole other life now. So maybe that makes you feel more comfortable, like revisiting, because like this is like, hey, let's play a show. Okay, hey, let's play all these old songs, and you'd be like, no, we have to write new ones. And now you're okay with playing some of the old songs too.
I'm not. I don't think I ever denied, because I saw like I've definitely seen a number of shows where the band will not play the song that a lot of people want to see and hear, like that Pixies show, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, there was the Great Pixies show that we saw at Mabel's on
200,
the first tour.
250, 300 seat theater.
No. Yeah, oh, Mabel. Yeah. Just a club.
Or you like not a theater, but it's a club, and you could stand right under them as they dripped sweat.
And they were indie. And
they couldn't believe how many people came to see them.
They were expecting,
yeah.
What every indie band expected when they went to a small town. It's like, they had probably played Chicago and had a pretty good crowd, and then they had a great crowd in Champaign, Illinois, and they were freaked out, and they were playing tiny amps. It was a great thing. But then they played later.
Back,
they played
after Here Comes Your Man.
Yeah,
they came
and then
back.
they didn't play Here Comes Your Man, and that was a little weird. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem with the old songs. I just have a problem with just focusing on that. Like,
right, that's why I'm saying you're doing
half
some
measures.
Yeah, that's why you're doing so many other things.
Throw a biscuit to Rick, let him have a new song, and then we'll play a bunch of old songs.
Well, I thought we were you were like, we're going to play all of Flower Power at this show, however shows we're going to have in the future, and I was like, ooh, that means we get to play Dangerous Life, and then I was thinking, oh man, that means we get to play Wanna and Byron's song, like
we
all these songs. I know, but I love these songs. I love playing these songs. I was like listening to more. I'm like, oh my God, Rain on Me, and what are there are a lot of good songs on that record. That I like playing anyway.
I think
of
Jim,
else.
who has the unfortunate task of creating
a guitar part out of thin
second guitar
air.
parts for, because the whole record is just three-piece stuff. Said the songs aren't hard, but they're just their arrangements are more complicated. So that is something interesting. Realizing,
yeah, my bass parts are insane. That was like when I first started playing bass, and I was like, it was like a funk band.
Well, yeah, so it's the influence of the Minutemen, right?
I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I guess I listened to the Minutemen, but
I was trying to kind of track it down, and so there's certain. And then, I think I talk about this already? I talked about the Mission of Burma stuff, which I hadn't noticed before, and then I realized, I was listening to that and the Volcano Suns. So it was the first Volcano Suns record, and
the
Mission
Smashing Pumpkins.
No,
Absolutely not.
Please don't.
They were influenced
cloud
by
the
us.
water.
Okay,
Don't cloud the water.
Yeah,
here.
sorry, I shouldn't have said those words
so
together.
Flower. I mean, these are songs that we started writing in like 85, 86, 87, 88, maybe 89. Yeah.
Question. Oh, She Walks, which is like in some movie.
That's She Walks. I know is like Meat Puppets influence. So like to me,
that's crazy.
Yeah, at least the guitar is like Up on the Sun, and so Meat Puppets before they were on Unplugged, right? So everybody, in our indie rock world, had that weird. The Meat Puppets kind of thing that happened where, it was just the SST thing where it was like, the aggro kind of aggressive bands, but then there were also, bands doing weird noodly stuff, and it was like, ooh, okay, we can do weird noodly stuff too.
So what I'm terrified about, I also have to say it's my parents' anniversary today too.
Wow.
Yeah, my sister's birthday and my parents' anniversary. My
and,
youngest sister.
And your parents, it's 60 years? Is that
I think something
possible?
like that. Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Sure. Yeah.
We just saw them over Thanksgiving.
Yeah. They're doing okay still.
Yeah, they're doing.
But okay, so back to this release thing. Like people are starting to ask me. Like I see, like Bruce Adams is doing like a book tour and stuff, but that's Bruce Adams. I don't like. I'd love to do. I would drive around the country to do a book tour, like with somebody else's book and somebody else talking. I don't know how. What do you need?
Nothing. Please,
Oh.
I didn't want you to stop talking.
Oh, sorry. No,
I thought I had an opportunity to.
Yeah, man, I don't know how I'm gonna like. I heard, I guess you were just at WGLT being interviewed for something, and you were saying, or they were saying they should get me there to talk about my book, and I'm like terrified to do that, because I have a tendency to be like meh, like a contrarian interview.
Well, just don't do that. Exercise some discipline and.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm gonna have to have like talking points or something, right? What are they gonna ask me?
You might have to do a little bit of work before you.
Oh God, I did all the work. I wrote the book.
Yeah, it's not enough.
So I will have talking points because at least I know how to answer the question that wasn't asked. Like if they ask me a question and that I don't want to answer, I'll just answer a different one. I can do that.
Yeah, there you go.
But
see, you can do it.
Why did you write a book about yourself when there are so many more important people?
People don't ask questions like that. That's you.
I mean, why the hell? Why would I want to read your book?
That's people don't ask questions like that.
I just asked it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I actually know somebody who asked that question. So
well, all right.
But
I don't know.
But why? Well, so I'll have to figure out an answer to that before I figure out any other answers.
I guess.
How come now? Do you feel bad that you weren't famous like all the other better-looking girl bass players?
See, again, I don't think someone's going to ask you that question.
What would you say if I asked you?
I mean,
I'd never ask you this question, but what would you say if I asked you? Why didn't you?
Some people say.
Some people say that you guys weren't as famous as you should have been.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Why do you think people say that? Why do you think? No, get it? That's funny. Why do you? So your voice.
All right. So this is the thing. So everyone's getting an insight of how frustrating sometimes you're.
That's why I can't do an interview. That's why you're going to come with me. We're going to do a Radio Zero tour.
I'm not going to come with you to bail you out and be your
always do it
before.
You've done it before.
But that's not what this is about. So yeah, it's frustrating to hear you talk like that. And now everyone else gets to hear you talk like that, so that's fine. And then maybe they'll email you and say, "Don't talk like that."
No, don't.
Don't
it's
let
not
that
even worth it.
Don't let that voice.
Larry says, when I bought Flower Plower cassette, I was so excited to have it. I walked out of record swap without paying for it. Realized what I did immediately. Walked back into the store. Luckily, I didn't get arrested. Weren't the first Flower Plower cassettes? Wasn't there a correction on them and they said Flower Power?
I don't know.
I think so.
Remember.
I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen one though. So
I think I had a copy of it, or I dreamt it.
Maybe it was like a test pressing or some sort, or I don't know. Did we have test pressings of cassettes? How did that work? I don't even remember.
I'm trying to come up with another terrible interview question, like a German magazine interview question.
It's just
Why did you not wear makeup on the stage? You could have looked so much better.
So again, I mean, the thing is you add something to the question. So somebody might ask that, it's like, and I think you have a valid. You actually write about it.
And then
no, you write about it in the book, though, right? Don't you kind of like the way you dressed and everything on stage?
Yes.
So that's a valid question, right? That's a leading question. Somebody might ask you, as opposed to the extra part you put on the end. But you actually talk about it in the book, so someone might ask you.
I know,
a question
I have
about
like
what
5
you wear
minutes
on
to
stage.
answer somebody, but and it's going to be like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Like I'm like a fucking crazy woman. I'm going to have to take ADHD medication. Maybe I can get some ADHD medication to answer an interview. Although maybe
all that would be is that it would be yeah, exactly. It'd be like an auctioneer talking about indie rock in the 1980s and 90s. You
got to admit though, it would be cool to do a Radio Zero thing though, right?
I don't know.
Radio Zero tour, house tour. For the 4 people who are.
So we'd basically go to someone's house and they would sit there, watch us. One person
Yeah.
maybe 2.
They'd be like
at their,
busy.
their kitchen table.
They'd be on their computer.
Yeah, they'd be on their computer working in the background, and we'd just be talking.
Yeah.
It'd be more like, can
I
we
love
borrow?
that.
We're in Cleveland. Can we borrow your living room? Can we set up in your garage for this afternoon and do a Radio Zero? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Well, okay, so the one here, I'm going to practice my talking point because I was trying this. The one thing that I got out of, like, I really enjoyed writing the book. I really enjoyed writing it. Like, because I'm not a writer.
That to me is interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, see, so that's the thing is then you say that.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm
you
not.
kinda
I don't
ruin-
have any kind of like preconceived notions. Like, ooh, I better write well.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of preconceived notions.
No, I
Sounds
didn't.
like all you're doing is preconceiving
Like
notions.
for like you
That's all you've been doing.
All right,
this
so
whole-
I'll finish this thought.
20
Oh,
minutes
Larry
of-
says we can set up in his house and he'll serve punch and cookies. That's
20
good.
minutes
Okay.
of preconceived notions.
No, but so it like I'm happy that I found an ending, and I feel like. All right, do you feel like you were like you're? We talked about this a long time ago. Actually, we're a little different than the people our age who didn't spend 10 years driving around the country, right?
Yeah, we have less
have-
money in our
That's right.
retirement.
That's right. And
I was going to say 401k, but I have a 457. I don't know what the letter is.
bingo.
Yeah.
But you know, you like develop like a sense of patience or something like that. Like I do, like I don't know, and I really like. It kind of ends like there's like a lot of Buddhism, like kind of my idea of Buddhism anyway, like kind of infiltrated through the book. Like it came out. It's like came out like I was running and like I sweated out that out of my pores. You know, and I'm happy with that because that's like I'm happy. Somebody just asked me the other day in an interview if I was happy, and I'm like, yeah. Like I wasn't like that when I was younger. I was really depressed all the time.
Well, good.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's probably a happy book. You know, it's probably like I think it's supposed to be happy.
Happy book.
Maybe I should read it. Okay, let's move on.
All right.
What do you got?
So you sent me this morning, or you posted on our family WhatsApp,
Oh yeah.
an AI-generated song, right?
Yeah. So I'm reading a program review, and the program review is talking about how this certain this certain program wants to make its students, like when they turn in theses and stuff, it wants them to be better. Like it wants to, that's their goal for the next 8 years is like, they're going to try to enhance, they're going to try to give more support for their students so they can, write better theses or something like that, which is a lovely goal, right? We would want that for our students too. But the thing is that you can go on OpenAI, and I mean, you've been able to pay people before to write stuff, but now this is free. And the AI will just generate a paper for you. And I mean, it's going to be better than the paper that you would write, as like a freshman.
Yeah.
It's going to be better because what it's going to do is scrape. I'm assuming it's scraping Wikipedia and whatever, like it's scraping the web for whatever info. I took an AI class in 1990, whatever, right? 1990. I think, I must have taken the AI class in undergrad. So that, Jesus Christ,
1980s.
that would have been in the 1980s, and we learned Scheme instead of Lisp because we probably had to pay for Lisp or something.
It was all about expert systems, right?
No, what I remember was coding in Lisp. I remember, just going through.
So they were trying to. What were they trying to do then? What was the trend in
comb
AI?
through a giant, quickly comb through a giant database.
Okay, that makes sense because then that's like the Google guys would have been learning that same kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and that's how. Yeah, so it is like algorithms and. Yeah. Okay.
And just like word whatever, word pairings and stuff like that. Just what is it called? Like syntax. There's some word for it, but I took that. So So I know that I totally understand how they're doing this. And I think we did some sort of word parser thing too in one of the Poster Children CDs that was on Warner Brothers, or the one that came after. I don't know. Because I had to go through and I had to write something that took out all the swear words. It was so long ago. But where was I? See, this is why I can't be interviewed. This is why you have to come with me. You don't even know where I am. Talking about AI, right? And it was you talking about AI, right? Yeah, I sent this to you. Okay, so while I was reading this, I was about this program wants to make their students write, better thesis writers. I was like thinking, that's all over. The students are all going to use this open AI. There's no reason for a student to write a paper. You will not be able to grade a paper anymore, like after today.
So
there's no reason to give your students an assignment to write a paper.
So what Rose entered into the AI this morning was write a political song in the style of Poster Children by Rick Valentin.
Yeah.
So verse 1, the politicians are so corrupt, the country's in a state of flux. We need to take a stand and fight. It's time for us to make it right.
Yeah.
And then the chorus is, we'll take it back from their hands. We'll put an end to their games. We'll take it back. It's our time. It's our turn. We'll make the country we yearn. Oh, I don't think I'd ever do that. But
yeah, well, I actually had a couple of inceptions before this,
okay.
And there were songs you would not have written at all.
Verse 2, the lies they tell, they'll never stop. No, the lies they tell, they never stop. They're just playing a game of cops and robbers. Oh, this is interesting. But we won't be fooled no more. Yeah. We'll fight to restore the law. Yeah, it's starting to get fuzzy. Take it back. Yeah, okay, same chorus. That's correct. That's one of my crutches. Just mix it up in the chorus, Rick. Ugh, so many more words. Don't sing the same thing in each chorus. But I get lazy. All right, the citizens, they need a voice. We have to make a strong choice. To rise up and reclaim our fate and end this political debate. That's actually pretty good. I kind of like that part. Because it actually does have an arc, right? It's
yeah.
Yeah, wow.
You're reading an arc.
That's actually probably better than I would do.
I actually wrote it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, it's so the thing is, I was not sure if using the words Rick Valentin, if it took that into account.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's a political song, but it's possible, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I said write a song in the style of Rick Valentin or something like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't work right.
But okay, so our colleague Roy Magnuson wrote. What did he write? He rewrite my teaching statement in limerick form, and it turned out like fantastic. It was like shit. But like any recommendation letter.
Yeah,
I'm done. So like
I just wrote a recommendation letter. What was it? Thursday? No, today. Yeah, was it Thursday night? Wednesday night.
Yeah, I don't like writing recommendation letters. It's a lot of responsibility.
It's painful.
Yeah.
Not painful to like just the process of writing and trying to get it because you feel like you're responsible not only for it's
you're
a lot of responsibility
for the person. You love this person who asked you to write I can't. I hate it.
It's just the responsibility of putting them in a good light and then also feeling if I do a crappy job they might not get a job or get into grad school or whatever if and then it's like, does this sound like something that everybody says I need to make this unique? And then it's like so yeah,
the AI generate so I actually think that something needs to be done like that. I sent an email to my fellow coding sisters at our fine institution. I'm waiting to hear back from them because like, do we need to explain to people what this is? Because it's like Y2K except it's real. This is like. This AI thing is like exactly like what it was like. What was it, 1995 when we were on Warner Brothers and people were trading MP3s at that time. Like this is what so like a change has to occur.
Well, the question is what's the point of writing a paper, for instance, right? Why so if you're talking about that, so
And what I'm talking about is that we cannot ask our students to write papers anymore because and we shouldn't have been doing it for the past couple of years anyway, because you can buy a paper. Now an AI can just generate it.
But there are programs you could use to check to see if the paper's, something that's in the database of bought papers or So I mean,
but now this is
like
different.
other schools programs like that are more heavily reliant on writing. They're constantly they're running everything through to make sure everybody's.
But now
it's
now
gonna
there's
be
no
difficult.
point in writing a paper.
Well, the question is well, why are you doing it? It's to, well, first off, is that idea that being able to write a cohesive argument, not just be able to speak it, right, but to write it is an important skill. But then the question is it? Especially if now you have AI doing that instead, and then it's like, is anybody reading anymore anyways, right?
It's going to be Wall-E.
And then, well, at least for the brain. I mean, everyone's going to
so you know what? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Pea-brained.
Yeah. But maybe the new paper is a video.
Yeah. Well, that was very interesting because somebody was talking about a student's excuse for being absent, and it was a video of them throwing up.
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to just the usual
doctor's note,
or I threw up, or it's not even a doctor's note. It's a thing that says that they went to the health center. It's not really a doctor's note because you can walk into the health center and get a printout that says you went to the health center, but it doesn't say anything like this person was bleeding out of their eyes and can't go to class. It just says you had an appointment, right?
Right.
But so no, that's a possibility. Yeah, so I think it's just evaluating what we're going to evaluate, right? And what we need to evaluate and how to do that, right?
And what are the necessary things that we need to teach our students? Because we don't need to teach them to write papers anymore. Maybe we do the same way we need to teach them, hand-coded HTML. We probably do, but maybe they have to be you reasoning and you making a video of yourself reasoning. Reasoning out, like, it's because you can't even, I was like thinking, maybe just have students write an outline, but I'm sure an AI can generate an outline. So Roy sent me some code that he wrote. He wrote code and the AI optimized it for him.
Nice.
And I said, let me see that. And it was, it was hastily written, when you have to set a whole bunch of variables at the beginning. And so what it did was it optimized them using a for loop.
Mm-hmm.
So, which, I was, because it was at that point, I was like, send me that.
Right.
Because do I need to be scared? Me. Yeah. Well, no, not that it affects me. It's like all this stuff I feel like I could do. I understand, not even that I could do it, but I understand how to do it. But if the code, an AI code optimizer can, how when you optimize code, like you kind of go through the algorithm and stuff of optimizing it. Like if it could do that, then that's a little bit more like writing poetry to me than just like.
Or just debugging, right? So
which they do, like some of the
It's always like rudimentary errors, though, right? It's not like the more
right.
Yeah, so it's getting into that more fuzzy sort of thinking area as opposed to just proofreading, right?
Like when I'm coding, in fact, like you have a decision to make. Where am I going to put this here? Am I going to put it here? Where, you can, and we used to base our decisions on how to do these things, like depending on, because we would write an assembler, right? 83, 86 and 8086 assembler. So it was crucial where you decided to put something and, subtraction was faster than addition and, timer, like so a timer would be set to a number and count down because checking if something was less than 0 was faster than checking if something was greater than 300 or something, right? So
it's interesting. I was just watching part of a video of someone who was she was a repair person, and not just repair person, but trained people on the SSL consoles. So the SSL consoles, but the 4000, what was it, was kind of this revolutionary console in the early 80s, like the Phil Collins drum sound came about on an SSL console. But it was revolutionary because part of it was, and I didn't even think about this, but the automation in it and the fact that it had the compression and the EQ. Anyways, she was talking about the computer and held up a big, what was the in-between one, not the 8-inch floppy, the one that was smaller than an 8-inch, but then like the 5 1/4? Or 3.5,
5 1/4,
5 1/4,
3.5.
And she was like, "Yeah, this is the control system for the automation for the mixer, and it's in assembler, and it's 256K of code
cool.
that runs this whole console. But then it also had the smaller floppies, and that was where you saved your data. So it was like a hybrid. Well, I think basically what happened was it originally had so they kept the system stuff on the big floppies, and then when the smaller floppies came in, that's how they started. They kind of built this 2-disk system to store and run the automation. But I was just excited. It was like, oh, assembler. It was written in assembler. Of course, it was 1979, 78. Of course it was.
So, I mean, you can use this open AI to translate one language to another also, I think. I haven't done, I spent 5 minutes on it, and then I felt guilty because I was supposed to do other things. It's not exactly true either. I spent a lot longer than that. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Are you on the SFSC?
Am I on the SFSC?
Yeah, you are, right?
Yeah. What you're saying is that people are going to start.
I already talked about, a long time ago, I was the faculty recommendation letters, the faculty end of the year letters.
Yeah.
You can generate those.
Great. See, that just makes me sad or depressed.
It shouldn't. It'll free up your time to do something else. Drink a soda and be on a giant spaceship. This is what I'm talking about, though. So, for us, when we were on Warner Brothers, and they're like, "Oh, everybody's trading MP3s now. What are we going to do?" And we were like, and then we made enhanced CDs with all the, extra data on the CD because you couldn't trade that at that point. So it's the same thing now. The AIs are here. What do we need to teach now? What do we?
Oh, I was going to say, it's like AI is going to do everything. No one's going to need to learn anything anymore. What are you going to do instead of teaching and being a teacher? Because it's more like, there's no money in the music business. You can become a college professor, and it's like, okay, there's no reason for college anymore because nobody.
Honey, that ship sailed 8 years ago.
No, I know, but it's still I think our university is going to remain for a while.
Yeah. Same as the record labels.
Well, yeah, there are going to be certain places that exist. I think we're in the. Are we in the Napster era? We're not in the streaming era of higher education yet.
Yeah.
I think everyone thought we were going to be, but then everyone realized, I don't want to spend my whole life
unfortunately,
in a Zoom call.
I did not win the university teaching award. Did you?
I don't know. I would have to check my email, and I already saw an email message, and I've been thinking too much about it, wondering what it's about, so I'm not looking at my email. But I'm assuming no. I'm not.
This year, the committee had to make some hard choices. You suck. See, this was probably written by an AI.
So that's the thing, is I got that letter last year. That's what I don't understand. This is sausage talk.
Sausage. Okay. Move on.
It's a little too
what,
deep
what
into
else?
the
Let's
minutia.
talk about the ending of Andor or something like that. What else do you have on your list? Oh, now I'm looking at my Bong email.
Listening circles.
Oh my God. So we had, so I was, all right. So we are trying to save the world at the university by, we're trying to save the world. So we had a listening circle. This, that
Is that what we're trying to do?
Actually sounded really nice. The concept sounded really nice. I actually really enjoyed the concept of it. What it was it was based around the horrible, it was based around attacks against LGBTQIA plus people, right?
Yeah, I
And
think
then there was
that's
some-
what we were supposed to
Yeah.
focus on.
Yeah, and there was some there was some bad stuff that happened at the university. I don't even know. Like that's part of the problem is that I'm not sure what happened at the university.
And that's been a problem. And that's what I'm realizing is the communication and yeah. Yeah,
well, that was the
communication.
first thing I said is like they don't show dead bodies on the news that much because you don't that's gross. So you don't really get, and so it's the same here is like we're not going to hear over and over again all the terrible things that people have done.
So
Because it's disturbing.
well, yeah, but I don't know if that's what's going on, but it's well, no, there was a fraternity, right? A couple of fraternities earlier was it during homecoming, spray painted anti-LGBT
TQIA plus.
plus
Yeah.
graffiti on another fraternity or sorority.
Oh, I didn't know about that. See, I don't know about
and
this
so,
stuff.
That was a problem, and then there was somebody got beat up off
Was
campus.
it off campus?
But
Right.
it was a student, and it was definitely anti-gay. Let's just say.
And then I was at
incident, and so it's what's happening now is everything that I think what's disturbing is that what used to be stuff that was either well, no, I shouldn't say this. I'm going to say this is stuff that was maybe there wasn't as much awareness, or a lot of times in our community we just assume, oh, this doesn't happen here, right? And that is happening a lot. And that's kind of what happened, what I kind of nattered on about in the listening circle is just, and what we've nattered on about in this podcast for the past, what, 6
is that you
years.
didn't realize that this is
It's
still
like
happening.
that things are bad or things have gotten worse, or people say incredibly stupid, harmful things or do incredibly stupid, harmful things. And I thought we were beyond that. I thought that we had a cultural understanding that you don't talk to other human beings that way. You don't diminish other people. You don't attack other people based on their sexual orientation, their skin color, their wealth or lack of wealth, what country they came from. It was just like, I thought we had, started working towards at least not eradicating that, but at least making it known that this kind of
You didn't expect it to happen here.
It's not even that.
Like,
It's just that I thought there was sort of a universal shame that prevented people from feeling empowered to do these violent and hateful things and say violent and hateful things. And yet, apparently now, people, either out of ignorance or because they've been encouraged, that there's not even that there's a repercussion. So I thought the battle is to, get rid of, this silent minority of hate, right? And that kind of lurkers, right? And just make sure that the lurkers don't poison the well. And all that's happened in the past few years is it seems like they've stopped lurking and they're full on poisoning left and right. And even if someone says, "Hey, fucker, stop it," that's wrong. That's just
the damage is already done.
And on top of it, they don't listen, and they don't feel shame, and they don't go back and hide under a rock. And I understand that hiding under a rock and having it pushed down is not a healthy thing. But I thought at least we were in the hide under a rock and ostracize these awful people kind of thing. We were there, and it was like, oh, we just got to do the last, or just do the difficult work on how to kind of keep these underlying and systemic problems where it's like, oh, no, we've just got these straight in your face direct
So
problems again.
So when the talking circle happened or the listening circle happened, they the guy like broke us up into groups of like 6, like in breakout rooms. It was a Zoom session, and we were in groups of and I was in a room with my boss.
Yeah.
But
that's the whole point.
I
is,
have
right,
an unhealthy relationship with my boss, and that like I want her to really like you've admonished me for this before. Like I'm just like I'm like want her to like me. I want to be validated all the time.
I don't think that's unhealthy. I think that's a normal human thing, is that you want to be liked as opposed to disliked.
Yeah.
But
I'm kind of in awe of that person.
Don't go. Yeah. The only problem is if you let that cloud your own pathway.
Yeah,
right?
which it probably does. Well, I'm that kind of person anyway.
It's very easy to misinterpret what you think other people want from you, right? So it's kind of like you can get lost at sea, where it's like I need to do this to make this person think that I'm,
I just want to do my
good.
job right all the time. Is the thing.
Yeah.
So I've had this, like when I was younger, probably somebody told me, your job is only to make your boss look good, and it's like I'm like, oh, I'm good with that. Fine, that's nice. That totally takes all the responsibility off me.
Exactly.
All I have to do is just, and so like that's how I've just lived for my whole life. It's like anytime I have a paying job, it's like, oh, all I have to do is make my boss, happy, or make my boss look good. So that's what drives me,
But that's
so my
a
boss
very
was
simplistic set of rules.
I know, but it works, keeps me happy. So she I was like thinking, oh my God, I hope she's not uncomfortable. I don't want her to feel weird that she's in like a group with underlings and stuff. But and she and then I was like, oh, I hope she like initiates all the conversation. But she's not the type of person who would do that. She would want to be on an equal footing. Like so, she was.
Yeah, it's
she's
just
great.
the fact that you're saying bosses.
It would it would upset her. Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, that's where I was. I was with her, and then I was with another person that I like really respect too. A couple of people. Actually, I really respect everybody in there. So it was really weird. It was, and I didn't feel like saying anything because I'm not a person who's being hurt. And I know I've had faculty members. I had a faculty member come up to me last week and tell me that this other faculty member said this hurtful, terrible thing to them. Like, and I was like, oh my God. And that faculty member was crying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of shit is actually happening. Of course, neither of those people were at the circle. So now you can narrow that down.
So it was interesting. I mean, the thing. So talking about, we had to talk about overall themes that came out of our people talking, right?
Yeah.
And it was there. I felt like the universal theme was kind of frustration, and anger, and then helplessness. Kind of like I can't.
What was happening in ours too?
Yeah.
Oh, we had two of our faculty, and I was one of them. Was like, well, I try to do this, and I do this, and I do this, and here's my pronouns and blah.
But so the thing is, but there was one person who said some things like, well, I don't, completely align with these ideas, but I do believe that people should be good to each other.
Wow,
right?
You had a unicorn in yours.
Exactly.
Damn.
Somebody had a really unique perspective. Not unique perspective. It was just like, oh, it wasn't a monolithic response. And that helped me, where it was like, I'm so negative, obviously, right? Because I have to have a podcast where I just complain about this stuff constantly, right? But that idea of, you just got to keep working and also focus on that idea. It's not, your job is not to change people's minds or to fight. Well, it is and that was always the conditional stuff. If it's like physical violence or, harming people, obviously, you have to speak up and you have to fight that off. But it's the more kind of just general cultural trend towards anger and lack of, human decency, right? And it's like, okay, it's like, it's finding ways of not trying to change people's minds, or I don't even know if it was that. It was just like, oh, it doesn't have to be everyone's universally on my side and agrees with what I think. It's more like, how can we be nice to each other?
Yeah,
cohabitate,
right.
Without,
For me, my job is just to make sure that, like, I just want everybody to feel comfortable, but I want the people who are like a little bit more underserved, and are more prone to getting hated upon. I want those people, like more historically hated upon people, I want to make sure that they have a safe space, in my office and stuff, right? And then I want to be an exemplar of not decency, but like acceptance. Okay, there's a weird person right here, and I accept them. I accept everybody, as long as they're not going to hurt somebody or be mean to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like to make the unicorn that you had in your room, that's so cool, man. To make that person feel, look at me and go, oh, okay, she's married to a nice, upstanding, waspy man. She must not be that crazy, but she's okay with gay people. Okay, maybe I should be too. I can't imagine who you had. That's cool. That means that because whenever we have these we need to be nicer to these underserved populations, it's always the same people that show up, always.
Yeah, and so that was part of the thing too, is this, everybody's like, oh, we're,
here we are
again. It sounded
again.
like another group I talked about, like, oh, yeah, it's always
same
the same
people.
people
Have their cameras on too.
Yeah, again, it's like, oh, the people who might benefit from being here aren't here, or it's kind of preaching to the choir kind of thing. And that's my big thing too, is like, I've already been through the whole purging and talking, which was the 1980s. I feel like, right?
And it's not for us either.
Stick, and we didn't. I said that I felt like our generation, didn't keep up and wasn't vigilant and didn't, figure out a way to make sure that we let down our guard and we let kind of poisonous ideas start seeping back in. We created a vacuum as opposed to creating an open forum for talking about, or just an open space for people to talk about and understand other people.
Oh, Sarah's here, and Sarah Garibaldi's here, and says she was having the same conversation with her son today and thought we were past this shit. And Larry says,
exactly.
Now
I thought we were past this shit, and
yeah.
it's like, ugh, we're not.
Now we have pieces of shit like Kanye West spewing his anti-Semitic bullshit.
That's what I liked about Neil Brennan's thing, is like, because rappers are known for their, mental stability, right? And it's like, no, I mean, that's part of the,
I think that show
there's
business
Chuck
people,
D, and then there's Flavor Flav, right?
Yeah,
and so it's kind of like arguing, but it's right. Yeah, Kanye. It's disappointing that the son of a college professor, knows
how to get his name out.
No, is descending into, sort of poisonous thinking and speaking.
Poisonous. I think it's the same as Trump, actually. You know what? I think these people are just trying to get more press. That's what I think. I think he's just trying to get more press. Anytime somebody says something whack, I think they're just trying to get more press.
Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I think that's an oversimplification of, but it is exactly what's going on, which is so what it is
attention.
If you're a cultural, if your job is to surf on the waves of the culture,
that's right,
and skim off large amounts of money from it, then you kind of have to.
You have to stay in their consciousness, and if the only way you can do it is to malign
our current environment requires conflict and controversy in order to maintain
clicks.
your position on that wave, that
Danny-
cultural wave.
And Danny says, aren't there positive ways of getting attention? Probably not for these people. You know,
There
first
are.
of all, well, yeah,
But
maybe
also-
for these people there's positive ways, but also just the fact that algorithms on Facebook, you know, and algorithms on the internet, you're going to click if your blood starts boiling, you're going to click and
Yeah.
you're going to monetize. Only anger is monetized, not happiness.
Well, I mean, in theory, Google and Facebook have been modifying algorithms in order to at least help alleviate some of that, but we'll see.
That
Um,
that is true. Am I interrupting you if I talk right now?
no.
So there's this Facebook group called This Ratto is Fatto. And so we had pet rats. You know, pet rats last for 2 to 3 years. So we had them 3 years ago, and so they've all died. They've all gone over the Rainbow Bridge. But this group, so I've been like, I wish I had them again. There's something about a rat. They're really, really, really smart. Okay, probably smarter than all the rest of the animals. Plus they're tiny, so it kind of seems like it's more precious because it's a tiny creature that's the smart, and they're furry and adorable, right? So I go on this Facebook group because it's just people posting pictures of the rats and like saying, hey, love my rat or something. But there's a huge community of people on this thing. At any time anybody posts anything, it's a few times a day, people just go, I love him. I love him. Give him a squeeze for me. Oh, kiss. And it's like, there's like hundreds of answers underneath somebody's rat picture of people just like the most wholesome, like most supportive people I've ever heard, like ever been around.
So what you're
in my
saying
life.
is there are places where
Yeah.
positive energy and positive reinforcement is
it's weird.
as motivating as the negative and the conflict,
Well,
right?
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what that's what fan communities are, or
Yeah.
like nerdy communities, right? Or
like our
it's-
Discord server.
Right.
Everybody join our Discord. I should look on the Discord server to see if anybody's written anything. No, it's just a bunch of.
But so part of it may be that usual complaint is like, oh, only you only talk about the bad news and not the good news.
Well, I just talked about my rat. This
Yeah,
rat.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is you're
Well, what's some
making
other-
a counter argument
Yeah.
that it's not all a negative cesspool, and that there are ways that people get positive reinforcement, and instead of troll like negative energy, and
Well, the troll like negative energy is much easier. All right, what else you got? I know
don't
it's
have anything else.
4:58.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I've been kind of sprinting all week. Yeah, I think we're good.
What were you? Well, just a little pop culture. What were you watching yesterday?
I'm working my way through all the Pink Panther films.
Yeah.
And I
what do
found
you got
out a
from that?
little negative trivia here. William Peter Blatty, author of The Exorcist and director of The Exorcist 3, was a co-writer with Blake Edwards on A Shot in the Dark, the second film to feature Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau. Fascinating.
What? So we're like, I was
Fascinating.
sitting in the room with you, and like that goes on, and then like all of a sudden I look up and like Tom Baker is on the screen, and I'm like, wait, is he in Inspector Clouseau? Like he's got the Doctor Who scarf and everything. So like, it's not the same channel, right?
It is. So I'm watching the free TV channel, and so you can watch just shows, and so there's like a Doctor Who channel. That's it used to at least kind of work its way through each classic Doctor Who era at a slow pace, but for some reason, I don't know, they've reprogrammed it, and so like you'll turn it on, and one time during the day it'll be John Pertwee, and then it'll be
Patrick Troughton.
Patrick Troughton. It's just kind of like it jumps around a lot more between the eras. Like they figured out that we can't show Tom Baker episodes for a whole week, and crank through them
Oh,
all.
so they're like how? Okay, but there's usually a series because the Tom Baker one that
they'll
was
show
in
a full
yesterday was
series.
like, yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
there'll be 3 hours of the Ark in space, you
Right.
know, 6 30-minute
Which,
episodes.
Yeah, like you were making fun of Tom Baker. You were like, he's
was
just phone.
really-
Yeah,
yeah.
but then like about 15 minutes later, like Sarah Jane Smith is like crawling through some kind of crevice, and
Yeah.
he was like, he did like a whole acting.
Yeah.
He totally.
It was weird,
I was like,
though.
oh.
I think that's the
Now
first
I remember
season.
why
It
I
was,
liked him.
And I'd never seen the transition from John Pertwee to Tom Baker, I don't think.
Wait,
I don't
okay.
think I had seen that episode, and that I got to see that.
Oh yeah,
the other
you
day.
you told me it was kind of Buddhist, right?
Oh, super Buddhist. So I
Yeah.
never, yeah. So the thing is that I had watched the John Pertwee episode. So that was the thing, is that the WDTW, the PBS or the PBS station in Chicago actually was one of the first stations to have. They had the Pertwee episodes in like 75. So there were a few stations, and then it was the package with Tom Baker that was a few years later. That kind of was the sort of floodgates opened, right? And so I had known the Pertwee stuff, but I'm assuming that they never showed, like when they had that Pertwee package originally, and I think they were the black and white ones, or we had a black and white TV then.
Oh right,
So
right.
They
Oh,
wouldn't have
oh my
shown
God.
the episode, the regeneration, right? Am I getting this right?
Yes,
This is
regeneration.
Really bad. Like 13-year-old me would be really angry
Yeah,
at me.
yeah.
I went to a Doctor Who festival.
So did I.
Did I see John Pertwee?
Did
No.
we go together?
No, I don't think so. I saw Tom, or maybe we did.
Maybe
Tom
we were at
Baker.
the same one.
Yeah, I
came
definitely
back
saw
with Jelly
Tom
Babies.
Baker in person.
Yeah, I did too.
And
yeah.
he answered questions they asked.
Yes.
Did you marry Romana? And it was like and it was yes, but it was the other Romana, right? He married the other one.
Yeah.
There were 2 of them, right? That was weird.
I have a question here from a viewer.
All right.
Larry says, "Are you guys going to watch the Willow series on Disney Plus?" And then
Absolutely not.
is that like Trolls?
That's that movie. We saw that movie, right?
Oh, did we walk out of it?
I don't know.
May
I
have
think I
walked out of it.
mentally walked out of it. Was it Willow or because we didn't see Legend.
You know what I want to see?
I always get those two confused.
The
we
Sword and
went
the
to
Sorcerer.
See, we
I
went to see Willow in the
yeah,
theater,
we
right?
probably didn't like it.
I
but
did not like it. I
All right,
know that.
Larry says he has yet to watch the original Willow movie, so
Yeah.
that's why you should watch that first. And I am also probably the only person in the world that has never seen The Princess Bride.
Wow, that's a good movie. William Goldman, right? No, not Goldman. Yeah, Goldman. Oh crap.
What's his name is in
Golding. Okay, Golding's the one who wrote. Yeah, William Goldman. Yeah,
it? William Golding wrote Lord of the Flies, I
right.
believe.
And then Goldman wrote Princess
Bride.
Yeah, I get them mixed up.
It's a cast of stars.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, yeah. Plus Carrie Eloise is the 2 main characters are beautiful. Like they're the most beautiful people you've ever seen in your life. And Wallace Shawn is in it. And what's his name?
So part of this
Obey.
is that you're talking to the one person who's never seen it, but that means everyone else has
Andre
seen
the
it.
Giant. You can't forget him. Yeah. How come you haven't seen it, Larry? Go watch it. What's the matter with you?
Peter Falk. It's insane.
Oh God, that's right, Peter
And
Falk.
what's his name from the Wonder Years, right?
The kid.
Fred Willard, right? Fred Willard,
And
not Fred Willard.
Billy Crystal.
This is just like old people talk.
Billy
Fred
Crystal,
Willard's
though.
in it.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah,
Not
okay,
to be
whatever.
confused with Hilly Crystal. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah,
And,
but
what's her name?
Re-
No. Who's in the scenes with Billy
the Billy
Crystal?
Crystal, his wife.
Yeah, what's her name?
He's gonna watch
crap,
it.
I can't remember her name.
I liked the ending of Andor, but I can't remember it, and I need to watch it again. We watched it at my parents' house, and there was like a light shining on the TV.
Snordor.
I can't-
I think somebody drifted off. I may have drifted off at the end of it.
Yeah, we have to watch it again. All right.
Oh, I remember it. It was good. It was fine.
It's the ending. I feel. All right. Wait. I'm going to talk with Sarah Garibaldi on that on our Forced podcast.
Yeah, save it for the podcast.
A ladies Star Wars podcast.
Save it for the other podcast.
Okay. Fine. I will. So what else?
That's it.
I watched a lot of horror movies in my youth. Okay. All right, Larry. He watched horror movies instead of The Princess Bride.
Oh, I saw John Eisberg's horror film, Final Summer. So he John, who directed our the Grand Bargain video. He's made a feature-length film. So that was great. It played at the Normal Theater. It'll be... he's got distribution for it, so I'm sure at some point it'll be on streaming, but probably not.
That's cool. He was working on... Where's his Champagne documentary? Rockumentary.
Documentaries.
Yeah.
Man, those are lifetime...
Nobody wants to see that.
Albatrosses. No, it's just that yeah.
I don't...
So I took a whole class in documentary.
But you have a film minor.
Yeah.
You have a minor in film. Rick has a minor in film.
All right. If you
it's true.
I have a master's degree in science. It's just or if you've ever worked on a documentary, it's that's a thankless and long slog. So, yeah, that tells you something.
Have you seen 30?
Who started a documentary, in the meantime, has actually made a full feature-length film
yeah. All right,
independently.
Danny Ingram wants to know if you've seen 30.
30?
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I
mean 28? Up? 30 Days of Night.
30 Days of I haven't. That sounds interesting.
Oh, he's writing it down.
No, I have not. I will report back. Oh, it's a vampire movie, though, huh? See, I don't like horror films.
I got to finish watching the rest. I still have like a couple of episodes to go of the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah,
it's because we hung
Doing
out
good.
with Susie, Susie. I can't remember her last name in the thing, but my friend Alex Borstein, who was on this show, we interviewed her.
Yeah, we did
a long
have her.
time ago.
Yeah.
We should
One
see
of the
if she wants
times
to do that again.
we did the guest experiment, the first guest experiment era.
Danny says written by DC Punk and ex Grey Matter member.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
vaguely remember hearing about that. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
But that was fun, right? I'm like in awe of her too. Right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, she's just a beautiful lady, and we had Thanksgiving with her. But yeah,
and 25 other people.
25 other people and her parents, who I grew up with. It's like, yeah, that's that really bummed me out. I think I can't hang out with, I was going to say, I can't hang out with that many people. It's too many people. It's overwhelming for me. I don't want to be one of those people who says that kind of thing, but I was just like, Meanwhile, I walk into my class all the time and there are 20 people in there and I'm like, hey class, how's it going?
Yeah, it's a structured, environment and everyone has their role and the expectation is that you talk and everyone pays attention to you. That's not the case.
And I'm delivering,
a Thanksgiving gathering.
Yeah, that was, it was.
Unless you want to be that relative who needs to be the center of attention. But luckily, I don't think we had that.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
It was
remember
it was good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No, it was relatively, conflict free. I think
too many people.
At least from my perspective, I can be completely ignorant of what was going on. But
it was totally conflict free.
My corner of the room or kitchen, I was fine.
Yeah, it was conflict free.
Yeah, it was good.
You talked to her dad, right, for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
To find out what you talked about.
We talked about a retirement a retirement village type setup with a medical center in it. It was very interesting.
It was where they're moving. I think they're moving there.
I don't want to talk too much about that, but
right.
it was interesting. I always want to know, I want to know strategies for surviving into my elder years because, I can't see myself living in this house, for instance, when I'm 90 because I'll wind up.
You'll fall down the stairs.
I'll fall down the stairs. I'll wind up underneath the refrigerator somehow. It's just that kind of thing where I actually did have that. That was after we had the flood in the basement. Did I tell you? I did tell you about this, right? Did I ever tell you about it? And then I was moving all those big shelves around that are made out of 2x4s and the old kind of like shopping racks.
Yeah.
Really heavy. And there was one time where I got kind of pinned underneath one of those when I was moving them around.
Jesus
when I was
Christ.
alone in the basement.
Oh my God.
When you weren't, when I was the only one in the house. And I got myself out, but that was a moment where I was like, okay, I need to be a little more careful And then it was like, okay, how many more years can I get away with?
Not getting hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
And
like my dad walks around like a foot an hour is basically. He walks so slow.
Yeah.
See you later. See you, Larry. He walks so slow, and I think that, knock on wood, that's like why he's not hurt yet. And I was starting to think, I was talking to my mom about this, like just kind of like not always being in a hectic rush all the time.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. And I'm trying to be
Yeah.
a little more self-conscious, a little more protective of myself
Okay, I haven't eaten
when I'm
lunch.
up on the ladder
Don't
by
go.
myself. When I'm working on the light switches and stuff like that. No,
Yeah,
I
Can't do
know
that
that.
anymore.
Yeah, no, that stuff's easy. You just have to turn off the power.
See, that's when you should have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have just done this. Oh,
Yeah,
I always
exactly
hit the wrong
what you
one.
should have done.
All right. This is very unprofessional.
Welcome to Radio Zero.